All right, I'm already off to a good start. I've managed to spill my coffee all over the place. But the good news is I have coffee. So as you may notice, today's video is going to be a little bit different than normal. I'm not cooking in the flavor lab today, but I actually want to go outside and enjoy kind of the last days of autumn that we have here before it starts to get nice and chilly here in DC. Today, what I want to do is actually just bike around, and I want to visit 4 different markets in DC. Dupont, Union Market, Eastern Market, and also the Municipal Fish Market. And I want to just kind of pick up ingredients from each one of these and actually just cook something with what I find at each one of these markets. I have my trusty steed of a bike over there. It's a nice e-bike. I've got my coffee here, so this is like absolutely required for me to get anything done. And then I'm also going to just kind of collect everything in my little cooler bag here, and that'll hopefully prevent the fish or anything like that from going off. I have an idea of what I want to do, but it's not like 100% fixed, so it could be, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna end up cooking, but I do have some like vague ideas. So I'm just gonna finish up drinking my coffee, and then I wanna head over to Dupont Market and find some good vegetables, I think. All right, so now I'm done with my coffee. Now it's time to head over to Dupont Market and see what we can find. All right, so now I've made it to the Dupont Market, and let's get out of the sunlight. All right, so now I've made it to the Dupont Market, so I'm just gonna walk around it first and just kind of show you guys, and then maybe talk about it afterwards, and maybe pick up some good stuff to actually eat. All right, I found a quiet little corner of the market here. I'm just gonna sit down and talk to you guys for a second. There's a lot of vegetables here, which is really good. A lot of the fall stuff's in stock, so it looks like it's Brussels sprouts, kale, cauliflower, and squash and apples. But there's also a lot of meat. However, since it's quite early in the day, I don't really want to pick that up and have it in my backpack the whole time. So I think I'm just gonna pick up some vegetables here. Specifically, I saw some pretty delicious looking peppers, and this is gonna be probably the first ingredient I pick up for today. All right, let's go get some peppers. Look at these peppers here. They look absolutely delicious. I think I'm gonna try to grab some of these. These are the hot peppers. I'm gonna grab some of these sweet peppers as well. All right, I've got some sweet peppers here. All right, let's pick up some hot peppers as well. I'm thinking about making something spicy. Let's see. Fall is so... Oh, sorry. How's it going?
Hi there.
Good. I have some sweet peppers and some hot peppers.
All right.
Hopefully,
Let me just get
there we
the
go.
sweets on the scale thing. Like, way to do a recreation
Are we good?
of an I can take this.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
All set. Thank you so much.
All right, we've got our peppers. Now let's...
So I like to do a lot.
Right.
All right, so that was the Dupont Market. Now, I could honestly spend way more time there, and it's a really cool place. However, I do need to hit these other markets as well, especially these ones that are across town. All right, time to transfer the vegetables. We've got some peppers, both sweet and hot. Just gonna bike basically across town, and I'll take you guys along with me, and then we'll stop at the next market, which should be Union Market. So it says it's 2 miles away. Google's saying that it's gonna take 22 minutes. So let's see if that's actually the case. I think on this e-bike, I can go a little bit faster. So I'll take you guys along with me. So there's actually some pretty nice bike paths in DC. There's even protected bike lanes, which is pretty nice. I've just started biking around DC. I only moved here a few months ago, so I'm still getting used to the city. But there's just like so much to explore. Actually having a bike is pretty nice in DC, especially an e-bike, because you're able to just get around a lot quicker than if you're using a car. Finding parking on here is just a total nightmare. It's quite chilly out. It's a lot different than it feels in Tucson about this time. All right, so it looks like I'm gonna be entering the Metropolitan Branch Trail, which I've never actually used. So we'll see how this is. So actually I made it to Union Market, and this is a different kind of market. It's more indoors. There's a lot of actually more like established little food stalls and a lot of interesting stuff like that. I may actually need to get some food because I'm getting kind of hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm one of these people that likes to skip breakfast a little bit. But this area is actually, there's a lot more than just that. Maybe you saw on the bike ride over, there's actually a bunch of different markets. I think a lot of restaurants get their stuff from this area. Now I want to take a scan like I did earlier to see if I can find anything interesting. Also, as I said, I might need to get some breakfast. So let's just go ahead and do a walk around and we'll talk, or we'll see what we can find. All right, I think it's time to actually get some ingredients. Are you open? Yeah. Okay. Can I get some of the andouille sausage? Yeah. All right, so let's actually get some food. Let's see what I got here. So it's a lot of food actually. I might not be able to eat all this. I'm gonna have to put it in my saddlebag or whatever. All right, so as you saw, the market's a little bit more of like a place to get breakfast. There are some stuff there, and so I was actually able to pick up some meat. So here's what I was able to get. It's a huge dosa, a lot of food. But you know, it's actually been a while since I've had dosas. And good appetit. They're really good. You guys don't need to see me eat. We'll do this after. All right, so I finished up. I didn't quite eat all of it, so I may store some of that for later. Not that you guys probably even care. Let's take stock and see what we got. So I picked up some andouille sausage, which was pretty nice. Looks like it's gonna be pretty good. These are smoked pork sausages. And then I also got some pork jowl, which is pretty, I've never actually had this before. I've seen Chef John use it in food wishes, but for what I'm planning on making, I think this is gonna add like a nice smoky flavor to everything. And also it's quite fatty. It's almost like it's almost like bacon-like. And so you can actually see quite a bit of fat here. And that's gonna help us with the dish later. And it's got a lot of pepper and some delicious stuff on the outside as well, which would just kind of go well with everything. And they gave me a little bag, which is pretty great. Close everything up. And now we are done, I think, with the Union Market. This gives you guys a sense of what that's like. Now let's head on to the next market, which is the Eastern Market, which is right next to the Capitol. And there's always like a lot of stuff there. So a lot of really cool stuff besides just food. So I'm kind of looking forward to this one. And then lastly, we'll be hitting the Fisherman's, sorry, I keep calling it Fisherman's Wharf. That's not in DC. The Municipal Fish Market, which is here in DC. And yeah, all right, so let's get going. We made it to the Eastern Market, so let's just take a trip around and see what we find.
Okay, we're gonna get there for you.
Oh, some vintage clothes.
And all he pretty much doing is what, sir? Just helping you set this up?
That looks really cool, but I'm not, don't have room in my bag for that right now. I'll have to come back here another time. Okay, we can actually head into the actual marketplace. No problem. Ooh, I also could use some of this. This is okra. Oh, thank you.
Hey.
How's it going?
Nice to see ya.
Good. Can I get a small coffee?
Yeah.
All right. That was pretty much a success. So we now have some vegetables. The market itself, as you saw, the inside area, which is basically this building up there, the brick building behind all these tents, that was quite crowded inside, as you saw. But there was a lot of meat actually there. I was surprised by kind of the number of butchers that were there. I actually haven't been inside. This is the first time I went inside this actual market. And as you saw on the outside, there's a lot of stuff for sale. Like there's a lot of really cool crafts goods and just unique odds and ends. This market's a little bit more down to earth. And I totally recommend coming here. All right, but let's talk about what we got from the actual market. Looking at what we got here from we've got some spring onions. We've got some okra, which is pretty useful. And we have our celery. And I'm gonna put these into the side bags just so that I have more room for the fish when we get to the fish market part. Now, with that being said, let's head over to the Municipal Fish Market. Yeah, the road has gotten quite bad, which is a good reason why I have these nice wide tires, honestly. And yeah, I don't know why I'm telling this story. It's nothing to do with food. So I want to take a break for a second to talk about the actual bike I'm using to actually travel around. This is my bike for today, which is a KBO electric bike. Additionally, another thing you might have noticed is that some of the streets in DC are less than ideal. So initially I was looking at a bike that had, you know, the kind of narrower tires, but actually these tires here, these are some Panasonic puncture resistant tires, and actually they're quite nice for being able to go over some of the DC streets. And then the battery, and it's a 48 volt, 16 amp hour Samsung lithium ion battery. And it's really nice because you can just basically use this lock and then the whole thing comes out. I live in an apartment complex, so I can just basically take this and charge it in my house and leave the bike downstairs. Can go up to 55 miles. I mean, I've been using it all day. Basically, it's almost completely full still. And you know, I've been biking around the whole city, as you've seen. Additionally, got a 500 watt brushless geared hub motor, which just really lets you just zoom around without any issues. Honestly, I think the bike itself is quite nice. If you're in the market for a new e-bike, this is a really good one. And I mean, the price is pretty good as well for what you get. KBO did send me this bike, which kind of allowed me to do a video where I'm actually able to bike around town. If you are looking for an e-bike, be sure to use the link down in the description down below. So thanks, KBO. All right, let's get back to biking around town. Look, there's the president. All right, let's dismount here so that we're polite. All right, I will see you guys in a second. I need to use the restroom. All right, guys, so it's actually warm enough now to actually take off that sweater I was wearing. And now we've made it down to the fisherman, or why I keep on that? We made it down to the Municipal Fish Market. And unfortunately, I guess earlier this week, actually, one of the main markets, one of the main stalls actually just closed permanently, which is really unfortunate because it looks like it changes the whole kind of feel and characteristic of the Municipal Fish Market. But with that being said, we still should be able to get some good seafood. I'm looking to get some shrimp, I think is what we're gonna be looking for. And they're really known for oysters and crabs here. I think we should still be able to get something. So let's take a look at the seafood that they have available. So, got some crab. These guys are still kicking. So these are actually barges. They're not actually connected to. It's not like a stall. They actually float these things up. And yeah, thank you. So I think we're ready to actually get the last real main thing that we need, which is our shrimp. And I'm gonna go to this place right here, Jesse's Seafood. I think I'm gonna go for just some shell on but head off shrimp. There is some cool stuff you can do with head on shrimp, especially for making like Thai food. But I'm just gonna go for some, I'm just gonna make my life a little bit easier here. Can I get a pound of this? That's perfect, yeah. No, just that. All right, so just because, I don't know, it's like one of these things that I always had questions about and never really understood. What's the difference between these types of shrimp? You know, whether it has the shell on, the head off, the head on, whether it's deveined. And so some of you guys may already be familiar with this kind of stuff. So in general, if you want to make your life a little bit easier and you just want to cook some shrimp and it's just a weekday and you're like, I don't really want to deal with anything, there's nothing wrong with basically shrimp that's been, you know, with its head off and deveined and deshelled. You can cook that and it's completely fine. But if you're cooking something and you really want that extra shrimpy flavor and you want to have like really nice, delicate meat, it's better to actually cook it with the shell on. There's a lot of flavor actually in that shell. But the problem is that either A, you're gonna have to ask your guests to pick them out, which sometimes they don't mind if you're just cooking this for other people, or if you want to, you can go through and then pick them off afterwards. Also, if you pick them before you cook them, you can actually take those shrimp shells and make like a shrimp stock, which is pretty delicious. All right, so I think we're basically done here, and now the next thing we can do is just start to head back and actually start to cook this. But just in the meantime, I'm gonna stop and we can basically take a look at some of the monuments if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. All right, let's go ahead and go back. All right, so we basically made it back to the Dupont Circle area. So now it's just a matter of taking this stuff and cooking it in the flavor lab. All right, I'll see you guys there.